Do you have Holy Cross for Paladin? Yes, kind of. I have a Holy Moly build that has Holy Cross in it. So let's figure that out. First off, if you're going to focus on single target damage, I would actually suggest a shield build. It's especially friendly or low level, but just being able to focus on just a shield means you don't have to refine so many things, because with either Holy Cross or Concentrate Pierce as single target damage, you're going to want a two-handed weapon, and shields are really useful for Paladin, so you're going to want to refine one of those anyways. You're going to do that, you're going to refine a one-handed spear. So if you have a two-hand spear build, you're going to slow your progress down a little bit because you have to refine more stuff, which I'm doing, so it's okay to do. Anyways, later in the game, I would probably suggest Concentrate Pierce, especially if you get the Marlin, primarily because the base damage is pretty similar, but Concentrate Pierce can crit, whereas Holy Cross can't. Concentrate Pierce is also neutral, which has the advantage of you can use a stat changey, an elementy changey thingy, whereas Holy Cross is just plain always holy, and which is better than neutral, but it gives you a little bit less choices eventually. Both of them are affected by attack speed, so that's a thing to consider. With Holy Cross, yeah, like I said, you're going to want a two-handed spear, because with the one-handed spear, you don't just have lower base stats on the spear itself, but you also get half the multiplier on the skill. So you definitely want a two-handed spear there. But the big thing is I used Holy Cross just to tide me over, when I was low on SP, but just to tide me over until I got Grand Cross. And Grand Cross I really like. So I'll go over the spear second, the actual gear second. I think the main question was about the build itself. So important stuff from the first job is not a whole lot. The increased recovery, I think, is a prerequisite for something. I'll maybe remember that later, but the recovery is pretty negligible compared to what you're going to be healing later on. Bash is actually really good if you have the Bungon card, because free extra damage is good. You get the rank 10 thing, and it's a significant amount of damage. It helps. And then especially with the Fatal Blow, you get not only the extra damage, but extra random stuns, and those are always good. I do suggest at least one level in Magnum Break, because if you're going to be doing fire damage for anything, I've got the Dark Lord Illusion thingy that does fire damage. So if I hit this Magnum Break once every now and then, it increases the fire damage I do from the other thing. And also, if you need to push somebody out of a safety ward or something, a safety wall, this lets you push people around a little bit, and a little bit of extra AoE damage that's very, very inexpensive compared to the Grand Cross, which obviously will do significantly more damage in a bigger area, but it costs a whole lot of SP. Otherwise, for a Holy Cross gear build, the provoke really doesn't matter, because you're hopefully not going to be tanking a whole lot, but it's nice to have at least one rank in that, because there's some situations, if you're doing ET or something like that, there could be some situation where you need to control the stuff. You're not trying to tank, but being able to provoke something off of an even squishier person can be helpful. So actually, we're going to go, I'll go through my holy moly stuff that helps with that first, because that's, I think, the biggest thing that I like, because anybody can DPS. You can do, there's all sorts of DPS options. You're not going to want to be a paladin for Holy Cross to do impressive DPS, otherwise you're going to be an assassin or one of those squishy things. But with the Holy Cross, you do some damage, but you can also heal. With 10 ranks in that, you're not a main healer, obviously. You can't completely replace a priest, but a lot of groups nowadays don't really need the priest. The priest just kind of hanging out nowadays most of the time. So if you're in a particularly good group, or if you're doing underpowered content and whatnot, you might not need a full priest, so some extra heals can be useful. If you're doing particularly hard stuff, if you're doing Helheim Hell or something, then that extra heal can take a lot of pressure off of even a good priest. It can get a little bit on the stressful side. My Didymus is a priest and stuff, and you get a little bit behind, and things start getting bad quick. whereas a little bit of extra bonus spot heals both heals yourself and heals your target, you can help out a whole lot. So I really suggest that. Let's see, you can provoke people, you can do some heals, you can support that way. You can also do battle chant. You're going to want a battle chant to help increase your Holy Cross damage, but that'll also throw out some extra HP and some extra recovery and stuff like that. That'll also help your party survive a little bit defensively. And then the big shenanigans that I don't see other people do is I put Devotion in my Holy Cross build. I mean, Devotion is good in your tank build, because in PvP I'm basically just an extra HP bar for the important people. I can pretend I'm useful by following somebody that like does damage and stuff, and making them survive better. So that's good. But even in Holy Moly, it's not necessarily my job to tank. But if we're doing some sort of content where the healer's likely going to die, or there's some squishy, I might not be main tanking. My overall goal isn't just Devotion, but that can save parties. I've seen that save parties quite a lot. And then even with just one rank, I'm trying not to swipe too much because I know it's going to make weird crunchy sounds. This Holy Chain, even one rank in that will increase your DPS by 10%, well, your physical and magic attack by 10%, and their physical and magical attack by an extra 1%. That's at rank 1. Later on, it increases their attack speed and all kinds of stuff. So devotioning people, even if they don't necessarily need it. I've had people say, I don't need devotion because I'm so tanky and stuff. That's great. Do you want to do an extra 5% damage? Yes, you do. Take the freaking chain. Yeah. Okay, what else? Yeah, so devotioning your squishier people is good. Yeah, that's your support stuff. Offensively,
Bye-bye.
and somebody walked into my room. Anyways, yeah, so that's your defensive, your supporting options. Offensively, the bash, extra damage, extra stuns, both helps defensively and offensively. Holy Cross, obviously, you're going to want 10 out of 10. Spear Mastery helps a lot. The Sword Mastery, don't do that. I just threw in random points to get to the top. I don't know why I did that. Spear Mastery is good. You want that. Demon Bane, I don't think you need 10 out of 10. I think you only need 5 out of 10 as a prerequisite, so you could always put some stuff elsewhere. But adding some to your base physical attack is decent. Add a little bit of, I mean, the 20 base defense is tiny nowadays, but it helps a little. If I were to redo this now, I would probably sacrifice some of the unnecessary ranks in either Demon Bane or Holy Cross for Providence. Providence is getting better and better lately because it's not just priests doing holy damage and other paladins doing holy damage, but the jalapeno runs are that's pretty much a holy thingy. So I think that goes up to 15%. I mean, demon 15% reduction is good also, but also 15% holy damage is becoming increasingly useful. And people don't notice it, but they appreciate it. It makes a difference. I don't know. Obviously, faith is good, especially if you have the accessory that does extra damage based on your HP. A more holy damage resistance, which is nice, but also the extra HP helps your survivability and your damage a little bit. Pico being faster, that's always good too, yeah. But then I would also, I really like Grand Cross. If you're going to do Holy Cross, you might as well do Grand Cross also in the same build. Difference is Grand Cross takes advantage of both physical attack and magical attack. Holy Cross doesn't need the magical attack stuff, so it's not like you like for the Grand Cross, the Brianak I think is the best weapon. Since it takes some of your attack and gives you more magic attack based on your physical attack. That really helps. The Holy Cross by itself doesn't need the magic damage, so you could just do either the Marlin, but if you're going to do the Marlin, you might as well do the Concentrate Pierce build instead of Holy Cross, or the Radiant Scythe Biddly Boop. That one's probably a little bit more optimal, but I like Brianak. That's what I'm using for now for the Grand Cross. That's about it spear-wise for that, but then, yeah, Grand Cross, good. I like it. The big downside is 82 friggin' SP cost, and especially if you're going to be spamming it over and over, that takes a whole lot. So we'll go to the gear. Oh, I guess, yeah. So that's what I'm doing, just spamming Holy Cross. I guess how to do the skills is important too. I just have that. That's my impressive setup there for my auto. You don't want your auto attack in with Holy Cross because that's actually going to reduce your DPS, because the attacking animation will reduce the number of Holy Crosses you get out. So you'll get more if you have the SP to support it. You'll get more actual damage if you don't have your physical attack, if you just spam your Holy Cross. Same thing with your Grand Cross. If you have enough SP to just spam Grand Cross over and over and over, that'll do the most damage. If you're running out of SP too quickly, you can weave in Magnum Breaks in there, either Magnum Breaks or physical attacks. But if you do Grand Cross Magnum Break, Grand Cross Magnum Break, you'll do a little bit less damage, but the Magnum Break is so inexpensive, you will save a little bit. You'll keep your SP up. So that's an option. So I would put that there and there if I'm actually farming and stuff. Let's see, the other shenanigans you could do is if you have a pet out and you're farming by yourself, you can devotion your own pet, because your pet is going to do a significant amount of damage, a significant amount of your damage. And let's see, let's pop this. I was doing more. So spamming Grand Cross is a little bit better. Varus thingies, the cogwheels. I'm not aware of there being a cogwheel that really helps with Holy Cross, but if you're going to do Grand Cross, the Will of the Cross thing is absolute trash. Don't do that. But the Apocalypse Mark is really good. Do that. That's why if I stop attacking, the Apocalypse Mark just keeps on ticking, which is nice because you just do extra stuff. And the Apocalypse, let's see, I'll get into the gear. When you hit 115, this Doombringer thing, yeah, I paid for that, sorry. But that's one that I actually farmed. Let me get out of that group, so thing. This Terminus thing, that is really useful. It doesn't help your heal, but it increases the damage you do based on your max HP, and as a paladin you should have a whole bunch of HP. That significantly helps if you have your tank build. It helps your Avenging Lightning. If you have the DL card, it helps your the Meteor Swarm. It helps your bash, increases your bash damage by a whole lot. Terminus is really effective on paladins, I think. I think that's a really good one for paladins and alchemists, because they have high HP too. Anyways, Holy Cross and Grand Cross, you need a lot of SP recovery. So you get the Witch Hat from Bathories. It takes a long time to farm, and they suck out your SP, so it's more difficult to get MR from them. But if you can farm anybody that has an empty headgear set and needs a lot of SP recovery, that one's really good. There's that mini one that's a little bit better, that is that, but it also gives you a chance to proc extra mana. But obviously that's a lot harder to get because you gotta get the minis and stuff. And this, anybody can farm, it's just a matter of time. Costume-wise, there's this fashion earring thingy, and then there's the other wishing thing that, hey, I got another thing up. I can actually just look. The water, no, that's a back slot. Face slot, the Serene Chains, also has negative 20 SP consumption, and it also has the chance to proc the bonus 200 SP back, but this one's actually better. The other one has attack speed, which is nice, but this one's better for straight mana because it also gives you the bonus SP, which I guess that's really the only difference. The other one, yeah, both HP, both luck, but this one gives you a little bit more SP, which is nice. The other one's okay if you get that one. The other one's 99% is good. The other costume piece I got is this back piece. which is both 10% consumption reduction and 5% SP recovery. The consumption is additive, so you don't have diminishing returns. So if you get the Pharaoh card, even the illusion for 20%, you get the 20% from the illusion, 20% from the face piece, and 10% from that. That's 50%. They don't like reduce each other. It adds up additively. And if you are someone like a rolling cutter merchant, it can go more than 100%. So there's no cap to it. So you can have 110%, 120% SP consumption reduction, so that you gain SP when you cast spells. That's hard to get outside of a rolling cutter, but I mean 30% is still pretty good with that. If you need more SP recovery, Dark Lord Illusion I like, but the Egg card, 12% SP recovery at 3 stars. That's pretty good. That's also that stacks with everything, so it takes your total SP recovery, including your hat and stuff, and it's 12% of your total. So that's actually a pretty significant amount. So until I got this one, I was using this for a long time. The Sohi one, I think, is just as good, but it's more expensive because it's a blue card, whereas the Egg is green, and it's super cheap to get 3-star, or you can just farm it in not too long. It's actually realistic to farm as opposed to a lot of other stuff. Let's see, is there any card shenanigans that's good? Oh, if you need more SP, Briannak also has 3 slots, so you get your Soggy Worm card for 20 apiece. So you get 60 total SP recovery from this, 80 from your hat, that's 120. You get, so when I'm doing Grand Cross, I do Strength and Intelligence, so my damage is going to be higher for Grand Cross. If you're just doing Holy Cross, you don't need as much Intelligence as long as you have the SP recovery. So for Holy Cross or Concentrate Pierce, more Agility is really helpful because higher attack speed decreases the global cooldown, so you'll spam the skill faster. So that's a good thing. You don't need as much Intelligence. Dexterity, I think you can miss on the other ones. You can't miss Grand Crosses, so Dexterity is not as useful. But yeah, SP recovery, I got 188 SP recovery for other stuff, even with that. Let's see. No, I can't do that outside of Play dead. It's Strength. So with 97 Intelligence, 214 SP recovery, and that's enough to stand up and Grand Cross a bunch. So that increases my DPS a decent amount. And then when you get pets, I didn't pay for this. I actually got lucky. The laser pet, but I only have the base form. I don't have it at 2-star. If you get it at 2-star, it's a little bit more effective than Lulu because you should always get 20% of its physical attack to your stats, which helps a lot. And see, even now, even with all of that SP recovery, I'm still losing SP without potions and stuff. But pet-wise, Lulu, if you happen to get that, I had some personal problems, and I whaled up a 2-star Lulu. So that means anytime I got my shield, she increases my damage even more. She doesn't do crap. She does very low damage, but she increases my damage a reasonable amount. Usually, if I don't want to eat potions or use food or anything, I'll throw in physical attacks to intentionally slow down how fast I use my Grand Crosses, and since I use my Grand Crosses less often, I'll usually be able to keep up with my SP recovery by Grand Cross hit, and that kind of thing. Anyways, I think that's it.